A software engineer who ignores AI right now is like a web developer in 1999 who refused to learn HTML. The technology isn't coming. It's already here, it's already being used in production environments around the world, and it is already eliminating certain categories of work. The question is not whether AI will change your job. The question is how fast and how completely. Let's start with what's actually happening on the ground. Companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta have all rolled out internal AI coding tools used by thousands of engineers daily. GitHub's data shows that developers using Copilot complete tasks roughly 55% faster than those working without it. That's not a marginal improvement. That's a fundamental shift in productivity expectations. When one engineer can output the work of roughly two, companies do the math quickly. We're already seeing hiring slowdowns at major tech firms that are directly tied to AI productivity gains. This doesn't mean mass layoffs overnight, but it does mean the industry will absorb less new talent to do the same amount of work. Entry-level positions are feeling this first. Entry-level software engineering used to be about writing boilerplate code, fixing minor bugs, building simple CRUD applications. These are exactly the tasks AI handles best. Junior developers entering the workforce today are competing, whether they know it or not, against tools that never sleep, never ask for a raise, and iterate in milliseconds. That pressure is real and it is not going away. But here is the part most people miss. AI doesn't understand context the way humans do. It doesn't know your company's business goals, your users' actual pain points, or the political dynamics behind why a certain technical decision was made 3 years ago. Software engineering has always been as much about judgment and communication as it is about writing code. And AI still falls short there. This creates what researchers and tech leaders are calling the AI-augmented engineer. Think of it as a developer who uses AI tools as a force multiplier. They're not replaced by the AI. They're directing it. They review AI-generated code, catch its mistakes, understand the architecture at a systems level, and translate business requirements into precise technical direction. This is rapidly becoming the new baseline expectation. Prompt engineering is a skill that's getting a lot of attention, sometimes cynically, but the ability to communicate with large language models effectively, to construct precise context-rich instructions that yield useful output, is genuinely valuable. Developers who learn to work with AI tools fluently are producing results that developers who don't simply can't match. This gap will widen significantly over the next 2 years. Now let's talk about testing and debugging, two areas where AI is quietly making enormous inroads. AI models can now analyze a codebase, identify potential failure points, generate unit tests, and even suggest fixes for identified bugs. What used to take a QA team days can be compressed into hours. This doesn't eliminate the need for human oversight, but it radically changes what that oversight looks like. Architecture and system design remain among the most human-dependent parts of software engineering. Deciding how to structure a distributed system, when to use microservices versus a monolith, how to handle data consistency across regions. These decisions require deep contextual understanding and experience. AI can inform these decisions, but it cannot replace the engineer who owns them. High-level design skills are becoming more valuable, not less. Security is another domain that isn't going anywhere. In fact, as AI generates more code faster, the attack surface grows. Vulnerabilities can be introduced at scale if AI-generated code isn't reviewed carefully. Security-conscious engineers who understand how to audit AI output, identify injection risks, and apply defense-in-depth principles will be in extremely high demand. Cybersecurity and AI literacy together is one of the most powerful career combinations available right now. Low-code and no-code platforms powered by AI are also reshaping who can build software in the first place. Business analysts and product managers can now spin up functional prototypes without writing a single line of traditional code. This democratizes software creation, which is genuinely exciting, but it also compresses demand for certain categories of professional development work. The industry is being restructured from multiple directions at once. Let's look at the data on jobs more concretely. According to research from Goldman Sachs and McKinsey, software development is among the occupational categories with significant exposure to generative AI automation, with some analyses suggesting up to 30% of current coding tasks could be automated within the next decade. That's not a collapse of the field, but it is a meaningful contraction of certain roles. At the same time, the World Economic Forum and multiple industry reports project strong net growth in technology roles overall through 2030. The reason is that as AI lowers the cost and friction of building software, more industries will build more software. Healthcare, agriculture, logistics, education, sectors that historically underinvested in technology are about to go through rapid digital transformation, and they need engineers to lead it. So the picture isn't doom, it's displacement and transformation. The engineers who will struggle are those doing narrow, repetitive, low-complexity work and doing nothing to expand their skill set. The engineers who will thrive are those who treat AI as a tool they deeply understand, who can operate at a higher level of abstraction, and who combine technical fluency with strong domain knowledge in specific industries. Domain expertise is underrated in this conversation. An engineer who deeply understands how clinical trials work, or how options pricing models function, or how supply chain logistics operates at scale, and who can also build and direct AI systems, is extraordinarily difficult to replace. The combination of vertical domain knowledge and AI fluency is the career mode of the next decade. There's also a growing role that's emerging at the intersection of engineering and product, the AI product engineer. This person doesn't just build features. They design, fine-tune, and evaluate AI-powered systems. They understand how to evaluate model outputs, manage hallucinations, handle edge cases, and integrate AI components responsibly into user-facing products. This role barely existed 3 years ago and is now one of the fastest-growing positions in tech. What about the freelance and contract market? Platforms like Upwork and Toptail are already reporting shifts in the types of work being hired out. Basic app development and simple automation tasks are declining in posted jobs. Meanwhile, demand for developers who can build custom AI pipelines, fine-tune open-source models, and integrate APIs from providers like OpenAI and Anthropic is growing sharply. The freelance market is a leading indicator of where the full-time market is heading. Education and upskilling in this environment needs to be intentional. If you're a software engineer today, learning to use AI coding assistants effectively is table stakes. It's the floor, not the ceiling. Beyond that, building familiarity with machine learning concepts, understanding how large language models actually work under the hood, and developing skills in evaluation and fine-tuning will separate average engineers from highly sought-after ones. Companies themselves are struggling with how to integrate AI responsibly. There are real concerns around code quality, intellectual property, security vulnerabilities in AI-generated output, and over-reliance on tools that engineers don't fully understand. Organizations that figure out governance frameworks for AI-assisted development and the engineers who help build those frameworks will have a significant competitive advantage. The engineers who will define the next era of software development are not necessarily those who code the fastest or know the most syntax. They're the ones who think clearly about systems, communicate effectively with both machines and humans, and adapt quickly as the tools around them evolve. Curiosity and adaptability are now technical skills just as much as knowing any specific language or framework. Here's the bottom line. AI is not replacing software engineers. It is replacing software engineers who don't use AI. The job is evolving into something that requires broader judgment, stronger communication, and smarter use of powerful tools. That is a harder job in some ways, a more interesting one in others, and one that will reward people who lean into the change rather than resist it. If this video gave you a clearer picture of where software engineering is headed, do us a favor and hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this content. Subscribe if you want to keep up with how AI is reshaping industries, careers, and the tools we use every day. We cover this space every week, and there's a lot more coming that you won't want to miss.